Welcome back to another episode on Photoshop Basics in webtrickshome. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at the eraser tools in Photoshop. These tools, as their name suggests, can be used to remove contents from a document that you don't want, or you can use it to restore your artworks to their initial state, just like the history brush tool. Most of the times, these tools are used to remove background contents from a document when you want to replace the existing background with a new one. Let's have a look how we can use these tools then. But right before that, hit the subscribe button to let me know you are here. Alright? So, without wasting time, let's get started. This is the image I'm going to use for this tutorial. I chose this image because it has got a lot of hair fringes flying, and that makes the task of removing the background a lot more difficult. Alright, you can see the eraser tools right beneath the history brush tools in the tools bar. Right click on it and you can see a couple of options, namely eraser tool, background eraser tool, and magic eraser tool. We'll go through each of them one by one. Let's select the eraser tool first. Once the eraser tool is selected, you can see a couple of options on the options bar. We have already talked about almost all of them in our brush tool tutorials. The only options new to us here are the eraser mode and the erase to history option. Let's see the eraser mode first. Click on it and you can see the option to select how you want to use the eraser. With the brush mode, you can use the eraser just like you use the brush tool. You can play with the tips as well as the softness of the brush, and all you need to do is paint over the area which you want to delete. But you can see no results, right? That's because the eraser tool basically paints the background color over the image, and here the image pixel and the background swatch both are white. Let's invert the foreground background color swatch and try again. And you can see the black color is painted over the image, right? With the pencil mode, you can use the eraser just like a pencil tool. That means you can't define the softness of the stroke. Rest all options and effects are identical to the brush mode. With the block mode on, you can neither define the brush tip nor the softness. It works similar to eraser tool in Microsoft Paint, where you get a hard square block to erase contents. If you check the erase to history option, the eraser will work like the history brush tool that will restore the artwork back to the initial state. Got it? Let's look at another eraser tool then. We'll look at the background eraser tool later. Let's see the magic eraser tool first. Select it and you can see all the options are similar to the magic wand tool. That's because it works the way similar to the magic wand tool. You have got the options to define the tolerance, anti-alias, contiguous, sample all layers, and opacity. Click on the color you want to remove and you can see the result. This result basically depends upon the tolerance and contiguous value, and the magic here is that the background looks so clean without any effort, right? Let's add a new blank layer to check out how good the result is. Add a solid color adjustment layer to the blank layer and select a contrasting color. Red will do a great job for this one. Let's move the solid color layer right beneath the subject layer, and you can see a lot of hair fringes, and that makes it ugly, right? This tool would work wonder on images where the edges of the subject are contrasting. Let's get it back to the initial state and see the background eraser tool then. Select it and you can see the options on the options bar are the same that we see while working with the color replacement tool. We already talked about each of them in detail in the color replacement tutorial. Let's see the only option that was not there. That is the protect foreground color. It's checked, right? Let's select the white color from the subject as the foreground color. Now try to delete the white pixels with the background eraser tool, and you can see it won't delete that color because we selected the option to protect the foreground color and define the white color as the foreground color in the color swatch. Let's take it off and try again. And you can see the color is removed from the document, right? Tolerance is 51% here. Let's see if that will be good enough for this image. Well, that does a pretty good job, right? Now you can continue removing the color you don't want in the image, but to be on the safer side, let's lock this layer to keep it as a backup and make a copy to work on. Let's add a new blank layer with a solid color adjustment to preview the result while working. Then you can paint all those areas you want to delete, and you can see how good it works. Let's zoom in a bit to see the edges, and you can see the edges don't look nice, and I hate to break it to you that eraser can't fix that. Let's add a new blank layer on top to fix that. Select the brush tool, sample the hair color close to the fringes, and then we'll paint over the fringes. But the problem is stroke will go beyond the hair strands, right? One option would be to select the subject with Ctrl or Command key pressed on your keyboard and click on the layer thumbnail on the layers panel. That will give us the selection of the subject area and then paint over it. Alternatively, you can make the new layer a clipping mask over the subject and get the same effect. Make sure your masking layer is right above your subject layer. Right click on it and select Create Clipping Mask and you're done. Now paint over the edges and you can see the strokes won't go beyond the subject boundaries. Let's keep the flow down to, let's say, 20% and paint gently over the fringes. Work with multiple samples if you need to. I'll go with the same sample for this image. The color might not look great initially, but we'll fix that. Well, that's done. Let's fix the color. Click on the blending mode option on the layers panel and select the mode that gives you the best result. Generally, the color mode works great in these cases, but I'll go with luminosity. Let's hide the fill layer and the background layer then. Let's add a new background in this document. I'll place this bokeh image as the background for the subject. Place it beneath the subject layer in the layers panel. It's a lot smaller, right? So I'll convert it to smart object before enlarging. Resize it to match the subject. The background is too sharp here. Let's make it blurred. For that, we'll need to rasterize the background layer first. Then I'll go to Filter, Blur and Surface Blur. Play with the values to get the desired effect. Well, that's okay. Let's add a curve adjustment layer to play with the contrast of the subject. Let's clip it too. Play a little to make the subject more prominent than the background. Well, that looks fine. Let's group all these to see the before and after result. We can delete the fill layer then. So, this is the before and this is the after. Well, that's all for today. Hit like if you found this video useful. Let us know through your comments and please subscribe our channel for more videos. Thank you.